Right. Welcome, Monty, Cammie. Thank you very much for being my honourable guests at the inaugural, I've called it the NGCC, Northern Golf Club Chat. I've no idea how's it going to go, where it's going to go, but let's have a go, yeah? So when thinking about doing this with PB and Crawshaw, George, we're going, we need to go out strong. We need two icons who can do this. And I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing, but it was a unanimous vote. And so you're both here. So if this doesn't take off, there's only two people to blame. So I know most of the membership will know who you are. Some may, but not all of them will know your backgrounds and your history. So to get the ball rolling, because Cammie, you're my top left, I'll go with you, Cammie. Very simple. Name, year you joined, who the captain was, and who proposed you.
Oh God, that's easy. 1980, I joined under extenuating circumstances. I used to meet Monty for the golf, for the rugby, and I was a member of Bramall. But Monty's way, he used to take me down to Northenden and we'd have one or two drinks. And this Saturday...
It's in the old drink driving days.
Pardon?
Well, this days when drink driving was a bit more liberal.
Oh yes, oh yes. Well, let's go. So anyway, we're up there and we used to have Bertie Specials, which was a mixture of martini, gin and vodka, I don't know, but we started drinking that with Dave Levins, who used to be a member. He was a great guy, and I'd never met him, but we turned up the end of it. I joined, and well, I'd finished this form, and I went home, and we were about to move house at the time, and my wife had said to me, you know, you want a new set of clubs, you can have it. I said, no, I just want one club. And she said, oh, what, a putter or a driver? I said, no, Northenden. So that's how I joined Northenden. And, but on the Monday morning, I got a call from the secretary. I can't remember, I thought it was Ronnie, but it wasn't. And saying, Mr. Stewart, could you come down to the club? I said, why is that? We've got this form that you want to join, but it's unintelligible. The writing is, we don't know who signed in or who you haven't. So anyway, when I got down, Monty had proposed me and Dave Levins had seconded me. And that's how I joined. The captain at the time, I've got a feeling, I was interviewed by Jimmy Watson, which was a joke, because when I went in, there was about 6 guys sitting there, and Jimmy said, well, you all know who Cammie is. His grandfather was a famous Scottish comedian. So Cammie, tell me a joke and then tell me when you want to join. And that's how I joined.
What was the joke? Can you remember?
It was dirty, so I can't tell you.
Hey, I can adjust it so it's 15 and over, or was that still too young for the joke?
What else you want? What else you want me to say?
Monty's turn. Monty,
oh,
year you joined, who the captain, and who proposed you?
Yeah, can I just put Cammie right first?
Of course.
It was a club gin and tonic. It was Tom Bertie who was the secretary, and he was drinking. Tom Bertie was actually drinking with us that night. It was Tom Bertie couldn't read his own signature. He was the secretary. And Cammie joined in 1980, and I think it was Peter Coppard was the captain. Is that right, Cammie?
no.
Well,
I was too drunk to know who was the captain.
What year did I join? 1972, and the captain was Lindsay Morgan.
Have you got your old, what cheat sheet using there, Monty? The old diaries?
No, I'm not. I'm just checking on something, that's all. I had 5 brothers-in-law, all members of Northenden Golf Club, all playing off single figures, and not one of them proposed or seconded me.
What does that tell you?
Exactly. And so that was 1972. The following year, 1973, I decided to playing a 36-hole competition. My handicap had gone up from 18 to 21. I was playing with Stan Cannon, and I scored 112 in the first round and 112 in the second round. And somebody said, really, I shouldn't have entered it, really, but I was all good sport at the time. But I remember Stan Cannon the following year was captain, and I actually came third in the same competition, and I had improved my score by 64 shots in 1 year.
That's probably just being playing golf drunk and being sober, Monty.
Yeah.
Another good thing about you two is both ex-captains and both presidents. But Monty, haven't you been president twice?
No.
Just once?
Just the once.
Just the one. Was it you? So who's been president twice? I've just made that up.
David Muirhead.
David Muirhead.
That's it. Apologies. Apologies for getting that confusion wrong. One question though, when you were both captains, what year were you, Cammie?
2005.
And you, Monty?
1998.
1998. And do you remember the old clubhouse? Key question. You know, you had all the photos of all the past captains. I know Pete Coppard.
Sorry, I was 97, not 98.
I know Pete Coppard was black and white. Were your photos colour or black and white? That's how you can know the difference between a modern captain and a traditional captain.
Colour.
Colour.
You went colour.
We went colour with the jackets.
Oh, it should have been the other way around, shouldn't it? One question which I want to know, because I've been a member, I don't know, about 12 years, I think, is I wasn't there when the old course was there, you know, pre-motorway. How much did that course change with that motorway?
Tremendous.
Well, Monty will tell you that. Monty will tell you that.
What did you gain and lose in terms of good holes and bad holes?
Well, the first 5 holes were in front of the clubhouse, obviously, because the motorway went through there. And I remember the first was where the car park is now, going out towards the motorway. And I remember that there were power lines going across the course halfway up the fairway. And if your ball hit the wires, you were allowed to take your shot again.
Is that like Disbury when you come back from the promised land?
No. No, we never crossed the road. The first 5 holes went out towards the motorway, level with the 18th, going right out that way. On the left, on the right-hand side of the 18th, if you're playing the 18th, going out towards the motorway. And then there was that was a par 4. Then there was a small par 3.
Which holes were added then to replace those holes? Which holes were added? So, as a member joins today,
okay,
they'd play the 18, but they wouldn't know which of those 18 holes were created. Because
okay, the first 5 holes disappeared into the motorway. The first, as it is now, was the 6th hole.
Okay.
And then we half purchased or got in compensation, which we later bought, was the old tip, the council tip.
Where the 13th is.
Where the 13th is, and you can still see the indentation. In fact, after when we first played with it, the gases from the tip were forming big humps, and if you hit your club at it, the gas used to come out. And we were warned, for God's sake, do not smoke going up the 13th because you could blow yourself up.
Yeah, health and safety was different back in those days, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I only played the old course for 18 months, really.
So was that long ago then when it changed? What year, roughly, did it all come in?
I can't tell you that because that's a question in my quiz, which is going out today.
Is it?
I've actually done I've actually put together a history quiz of Northenden Golf Club because I think a lot of members don't know the real good history of, interesting history of Northenden. And although it's a quiz, very few people will be able to do it.
Well, don't ruin it, because I've got some questions coming up which might link to that.
Right, which is why I've offered 2 bottles of wine for prizes, as I know nobody will get it.
Well, if those people want to email me after this, I might have some inside information for them. One question, though, which we keep going about, this view as well, Cammie, is in the last 5-10 years, you know, I suppose, Northernden's prized itself on its history. You know, if you look behind me, 1913 to 2013, we've got a lot of history, but when it comes to the old school history, prestige, top-end players, you know, we've not had that last 10, 15, 20 years. But if you go back to look at it, you know, the 70s and 80s, we had some great people come down here. So we've got a couple of questions actually, is who's the most, to Cammie first, who's the most famous person you've played with at Northenden? I'm guessing it might be one of the pro-ams.
Hugh Baiocchi. Hugh Baiocchi was a South African golfer.
I'm glad you're finishing that. Is who?
He was very famous in the 70s and 80s, and he was a great guy. So that was, I played with Colin Montgomery, but that was somewhere else. That was very interesting. He's a nice guy. Whatever you hear about him, he was a very nice and helpful guy.
Oh, good. And how about you, Monty? Most famous person at Northern you played with?
Well, I played with, at the time, the record, we had the record for most appearances in the Ryder Cup, and he played with me, and I beat him gross by 1 shot. It's absolutely true. I know it's hard to believe when you look at my swing now, but you can see where Anthony's got it from. And
hey, by the way, it's true because he's told me about 1,000 times.
It was Christy O'Connor Senior, and I knocked it. It was obviously in the Celebrity Am, which I shall tell you the story about it in a second as to why he arrived. It was a Celebrity Am, and our team was a 4-man team, 2 scores to count, but he had to keep his score, and I managed to keep my score all the way round, and I knocked it round in 75 gross, and he did 76 gross. I know
same tees? Off the same tees, Monty?
Oh yes, off the same tees, of course. I know Peter Scott came out to follow Christie around because he was quite obviously very famous, and I'd got a birdie down the 10th and just missed a birdie on the 11th, and he turned around to Christie O'Connor and said, "He never plays like that when he plays with me."
Yeah. Always one for show.
I'm absolutely inspired. But how he played in it was my charity day. I was captain at the time, and it was a charity day to raise money. And Joe Kennedy came on and asked me what the charity was, and said how much money did they intend to raise? And I tried to say about 4,000 or 5,000 with a bit of luck. He said, "Well, whatever you raise, I'll double it." And it was for a children's charity that I was doing it for at the time. But the interesting thing was on the Saturday morning, after being out at Cammie on the Friday evening, till God knows what time, had a phone call about 8:30 in the morning, and the voice was singing down the phone, "If you ever want to go across the sea to Ireland." And I went, "Oh God," Joe Kennedy. And he's singing this time there, and I got a stinking headache. I said, "What is it?" He said, "I've got himself to come across and play in the tournament." I said himself and kept going. But his nickname with Christy O'Connor Senior was himself. And eventually I got it. It dawned on me. And I said, "But Joe," I said, it's a celebrity am, not a pro am. He said, "Is the man a celebrity?" He's coming.
Can you edit this? All right.
I'm going to have to. Yeah. It's like the Monty show.
Drink, you know.
You know, I've been fortunate enough in my 12 years. I like to think I've been there towards the end of that old era time, should say. You know, towards the end of that traditional times, through to the clubhouse going, the temporary clubhouse, the new clubhouse, and membership looking different, shall we say? You know, the membership, I think, is coming more the modern way. You know, a lot of short-term members, more rotating members. And at the same time, you know, unfortunately, we've lost a lot of members, you know, through health reasons, whatever. You know, but what I want to talk about is the characters of the golf club. You know, we've had some tremendous characters of the golf club who, you know, God rest their souls, are no longer with us. You know, within seconds, you think of probably the Francos, the Sandys, you know, even Les Massey, you know, Russ Tyler, some great characters, you know. And I think, you know, if you ask a lot of people in the club who they could pick the ideal four ball, I think you were one of them, Cammie, who said, you know, Franco would be on there. You know, and everyone's got different stories of them. So, you know, a lot of the members will know of those guys. So, Cammie, two questions then. One, give us a little snippet of a memory you have of any of those guys, you know, and how do you see, what's your opinion of those characters? You know, we used to have some great ones. Do you see having as many characters now? How do you think that will change in the future, if it has changed at all? What are your thoughts?
Well, thinking of characters, the one that springs to mind was Fred Dawson. Fred Dawson was captain, and he was a great guy. He always asked people if they wanted a drink. You know, whether they wanted one or not, they got one. But he had a brother, Dennis, and Dennis used to follow anything that Fred did, Dennis would follow. So in these days where you could have a drink, they had about 8 or 9 pints. And Fred said, I'll need to go. And Dennis said, oh, I'll come as well. So they go down, get in their cars, you know, because drink driving, you know, they still did that. And Fred set off, going up the driveway, and Dennis was right behind him. And Fred veered off onto the grass and round and back onto there. And Dennis followed him onto the grass and back onto there. And these two were driving home, so Christ knows how they finished up. And what else? But I mean, I played years with Monty, and I'm still alive. But we once won the Rover foursomes, and you qualified. So we qualified to go to, I think it was Moore Park or Moore Allerton, to play in the finals, and we finished last. And we came back and said, "How did you get on?" I said, "Well, we didn't do too well." He said, "How did Monty play?" I said, "He put me in parts of the course even Heineken couldn't reach." So, but Monty's been a character, as we all know, and I've had great times with Monty, and we've won a few things. And the one thing I always remember was when we played in the medals, and we were playing with the third person. The third person used to come off and say, "See these two? God," he said, "you think they were playing this? They think they were playing this? Oh, crudeness! You think they were playing? You think they were playing match play, because the two of them, if one hold a 10-foot putt, the other hold a 10-foot putt. One hold a 20-foot putt, the other would hold a 20-foot putt."
Cammie, I was when I first joined that third person. I met
I
you
know.
two. You two were the first ones I ever met.
That was right, because we played and you came on the day and you got in the bag, and I said, "Where's your woods?" And I don't play a wood. And he started hitting these irons over the place. So the next, we said, "We should get a wood." The next week we were playing, and he came, "You got a wood?" I said, "Oh, where did you get that?" He said, "Well, there was a barrel outside the club." So I just picked one out. And I think he paid something like $5 for it. You know,
I think it's $29.99 a 4-gun. had second hand or third hand barrel.
Yeah, but I mean, more characters. Well, there used to be loads of them. I mean, Monty would know, because Monty's older than most people, so he would remember more than I did. But I mean, Max Brown. Monty will talk to you about Max Brown. Max Brown was a great guy. I didn't know him too well. He used to have the wine bar in town, so that's how I got to know him. But He was a
Well,
great
off
guy.
the course and on the course. How about you, Monty? Who've been the icons in your life at MGC, apart from your good self?
Well, I'll try and make it very quickly. But Max Brown was a great character, and it was a Salafi wine bar. He opened the first wine bar in Manchester.
This is your quiz sheet again. You look at your quiz sheet here, Monty.
No. He opened the first wine bar in Manchester with Rod Presick, and Malcolm, oh God, it'll come to me in a minute. Anyway, Malcolm and I were in advertising at the time, so we used to frequent it. And Malcolm turned around to me and he said, I'm a bit fed up with advertising. He said, do you fancy opening a wine bar? Another wine bar? I turned around and I'll never forget what I said. I said, Malcolm, there's only room for one wine bar in Manchester, okay? Max was an incredible character. He joined with Steve Bull, and eventually he was asked to be captain. I've forgotten what year. He was vice captain, actually, and Steve Bull had bought Mere. And Max died very early of the asbestosis, because when he bought the wine bar in town, it was in the basement, and they cleaned all the basement out. There was asbestos there, and he died very early. But he was managing director of Mere, and that's why they call it the Brown Lounge there. It's named after Max. But characters, and my favourite story, I suppose, ever is John O'Connor. And John O'Connor was an Irishman, obviously, but he used to come out with the most incredible remarks. And John Carty used to tell. So I had one incident with him where I rushed out. John O'Connor's coming out of the showers. He said, have you had a good score? He said, no. He said, I haven't played yet. He said, in fact, I'm playing with you. I said, well, what? Shower. And he looked at me and said, no. He said, always have a bloody shower first, because there's never any effing towels left when I get in. That's true. Absolutely true.
And one question for you, Cammie. One of the things everyone knows the golf club pretty much is County Cameron. Where did that all come about? Tell us the history of that.
Well, in 2003, yeah, I just had an idea, because I'd finished work, but I still had the things I wanted to do, and just someone said to me, why don't you write something about that? So Dave Rees was the chairman at the time. He'd been captain before, and Dave Rees, I said to him, you fancy doing something? So I did something up, and I took it to him, and he said, oh, that's good, that's quite funny, So I did it, and I put it out, and everyone was coming up and either saying, well, why did you say that about me or not? But as the years evolved, people used to come up and say, why am I not in it? And I said, well, you haven't done anything. Yeah. So that was it. So then I did it 3 years. I've done it since 2003, but did it on a little magazine thing. And then a couple of years ago, Tom Smith said to me, we should try and get this on the website. So that's when I started doing it on that and doing it as news things. And I just like doing it. I think it's a bit of fun. I've only had one run-in with someone, but that was with Ray Brown, where I used the wrong phrase. I said he was, I can't remember.
Oh, impecunious.
Impecunious,
You know how I remember that, Cammie?
Right.
Help me impress with that memory.
I just should have said he was a miserable so-and-so, but anyway, he complained about it. And but the funny thing about it was, people, when they realised he'd moaned, came up to me, and I could have told 25 stories that would prove that he wasn't forthcoming with spending money.
What's What's also overlooked, Cammie? I mean, everyone loves Candid Cameron. It's funny. Everyone loves it. And it's actually a good way for people to hear of other people who become new members of the club. And you're right. There's a point where everyone wants to be in it. Because I think if you've made it in there, you feel like your perception or your profile has gone up this little notch. So it is quite funny. One of my biggest heartbreaks of my poor Northern career is I once went something silly like, because this used to be quarterly, didn't it, originally? Was it quarterly originally?
I did about three or four a year, yeah.
Yeah. So during that time, so between 2009 and 2013, I had a run where I was in every single edition. Every single edition. Not always the positive stuff, I was always in it. And the day it stopped, I was devastated. I think I even texted you or called you. But what goes overlooked when it comes to the club's finances, like most clubs, we haven't got millions to spend. It's all about cost cutting. I think the real reason why they moved your stuff onto online is we must have gone through a million reams of A4 every time one of the Candid Cameron was dished out. You can remember walking up the old stairs of the clubhouse, and on the right, it was a stack after stack everywhere on the Candid Cameron. Do you remember all that paperwork? Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh, a lot out there. A lot out there.
I've got all mine framed.
Which one?
I've got all my mentions framed. I've covered the whole wall with them.
You need to get signed copies, Monty.
But none of them complimentary, I might add.
Never right.
The one thing is, Lexi, since I've been doing it, it's now 17 years I've been doing it, and I just enjoy doing it. It's not a task. It's just something, and you can have a little poke at people, and they all take it, 99% take it the right way, except Nev Bradley.
Yeah. Careful what you say now. It's the only legal way to abuse someone and get away with it.
Yeah. I've got a Philadelphia lawyer on tap.
Yeah. It's funny what you said earlier about playing with Monty. As you know, I've played with both of you hundreds of times, either as part of the team, against each other, as partners. And with Monty, I love playing with Monty as partners, but at the same time, I dreaded it because he's a competitive fella. And when Monty got involved with the centenary competitions, remember our centenary year? And then we rotated every year, the twos. And he asked me to be his partner for the very first year, and we kept that up until one year he got injured, and Gary Aspinall, fair play, stepped up in his place and surprised everyone, including himself, did really well. But there's one round, and Monty tells this story, he's left now, 1,000 times, okay, about me having this massive drive down 18 at Sale and missing the biggest green in the world. But the one story I was telling about Monty is, again, we were paired up at home this time, whatever, the best 6 pairs to count the club thing, and he's had a mare. He's had a mare from start to finish. And I've had an amazing day. I've played out my skin. And I think I single-handedly kept us in it. On 18, I've been lucky enough to knock it within, I don't know, say 5 foot for 2. I won like 40 points, 41 points, doing really well. And I've left this putt on the edge. I've left it short on the edge. First thing Monty says to me is, that's going to cost us. That's going to cost us. Shake hands, and he storms off. I'm in disbelief. Couldn't believe that. Everything. Anyway, they kept quiet. I went upstairs. At one point, took us from 2nd to 4th out the prizes. I've kept quiet about that.
What's happened to him?
He must have lost Wi-Fi. But one more thing before we got a couple of things coming. You're getting into the high times like social media and all that sort of stuff. But you need to improve your social media presence. If you ever Googled yourself, Cammie?
No.
You Google Cammie Stewart, the first thing which pops up is this tattoo artist from Dundee. But then the next 2 are golf related, but not always the best. The first one is in 2005, you handing over the Mersey Bowl to Disbury, who are the winners. So that's not a good sign. And the year after, here's a question for you. 2010 Mersey Bowl, you finished 4th, won out the prizes. Top score there for Northenden. Who was your partner in the mixed?
In the mixed? John Birchall.
Yes, good lad.
At Charlton.
Yeah, it was Charlton. Oh, fantastic that.
And I put actually, like, we tied on the same points as the winner, right? And Jones putt the last hole stayed on the edge for a birdie. So I said, oh, well, that's, if it got in, Jones said we'd have won. So anyway, we didn't. So the team that won, I went over to them afterwards and said, congratulations, you know, but we had a putt that, and they said, we didn't score at the last.
Those things always happen though, don't they? It's a shame though. I was going to ask Monty this question. I was going to ask Monty what the best £30 he's ever spent on his life. And he wouldn't have known. While doing research on Monty, I came across this. And you'll remember this, Cammie. Okay. So this is Monty leaving a testimonial. Okay. To think that I ever thought it would not work, I sent out my 30 odd pounds to you on the understanding that if it did not work, at least I would get my money back. I received the CDs on Thursday and played them 4 times before I went out on Saturday in a stable for the qualifier for our winter championship. I just wanted 36 points to qualify. I play off 15, a 68, so you can work out how far that was. Have been down to 7, but I've not really done anything of importance for years. I went out there and remembered most things, and it worked. I shot 5 shots lower than my handicap and won the comp with 41 points. And on reflection, I hit at least 3 exhibition shots, which were key. Thank you for changing the rest of my golfing life. I look forward to trying to get down to single figures again. Do you remember that stage Monty went through with Bob Rotella, all those mind books and all that stuff? Do you remember he went through that period of changing his game?
Oh, well, he changes it every week.
Yeah, I know. That's funny.
What about the sports psychologist?
Yeah, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we'll wrap up soon now, Cammie, but how you coping coronavirus? What are your thoughts on what the future lies with that?
Well, to be quite honest, I haven't been out of the house for 7 weeks. I haven't got past the gate. And that's basically because the family don't want me to, you know, and they want me to be safe. So they bring all the stuff to. And the other things, I don't read anything about it, and I don't listen. The only thing I do is I listen to the 5 o'clock one, but the rest, because there's too many. I know it's been on Facebook and all that, but they're quite right. The media are just going over the top. I mean, it's all pessimistic, and they're always having a go at people, and I just can't abide that.
I'd say the way I describe the media, it's damned if I do, damned if I don't. So they got grief for not opening the Nightingale hospitals in time. Then they opened them. Now they're getting grief because they're empty.
Hold on. I think this is Monty.
Okay.
Monty and I used to play with Ken Lawrence, you know, every week and all that. And there was one week he stormed into the pro shop, threw his clubs down on the floor, and Dennis Durnan, who was a pro, and Gary Butler were there, said, What's up with you, Ken? These two, what two? Cammie and Monty. Well, what about them? Their swings put me off. And Dennis says, hold on a minute. Monty's lying second in golf of the year and Cammie's is third. He said, I'm never playing with him again. The swings put me off, and stormed it away. He played with us the next week. You know, typical Ken. I think he's coming on now. He's coming on now.
You know, I said earlier, kind of at the beginning, that I was expecting a bit more painful than it was. I might have spoken too soon.
Am I back on?
And we're back. Welcome back, Monty. And even though you deny it, Cammie and I definitely think that's your third glass in the meantime. Monty.
Well, there's nobody to stop me here.
Monty, I've already mentioned it when you went away, but I'll do it again. What's the best £30 you've ever spent on golf, in your mind?
Oh, crikey, that's a... Oh. You stumped me there.
I'll give you the answer, Monty. I'm going to read you the snippet, and as soon as it rings a bell, you let me know. Okay? To think that I ever thought it would not work. I sent out my 30 odd pounds to you on the understanding that if it did not work, at least I would get my money back. I received the CDs on Thursday and played them. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I was playing with Anthony and Paul, what's his name? Paul Wilson. And Anthony had seen these CDs arrive. It's called How to Reduce Your Handicap Without Changing Your Swing. It was all about...
You ready, Monty? Let me read it. I went out there and remembered most things. It worked. I shot 5 shots lower than my handicap and won the comp with 41 points. And on reflection, I hit at least 3 exhibition shots, which were key.
Oh,
what was that? You're chipping on an 18?
Oh, no. You weren't supposed to hit exhibition shots.
Yeah, I know that. Do you know how I know that, Monty?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, I don't. He obviously
All the times we were playing together on the second, you came to me and I was eyeing up where to go for this big hard carve around the corner on the second. I think we must have been partners. And you proceeded to tell me, interrupting my pre-shot routine, what I shouldn't be doing. Lex, you shouldn't be hitting exhibition shots, which happened 1 in 30. And another thing, I can't remember what happened next, but I'm guessing in my stubborn attitude, I was polite to you, probably muttered something under my breath as in, pee off, and probably proceeded to carve it straight in the Mersey anyway, and then not look at you down the second because I can feel that glare down my side.
Well, I'll tell you a story. Roy Dixon, who not a lot of members would know, was Roy Dixon was deputy goalkeeper to the German, played for, oh God, I forgot his name, Bert Troutman at City, and he sat on the bench most of his life, never played, but he was always one for hitting exhibition shots. All they wanted to do was hit the drive miles. And he's playing with his big mate at the time, Alan Mitchell. They had a business together. And Roy banged this. It was me to go first, and I banged a reasonable ball, feathered it down the middle to about 260. And he decided to launch it, and he did. It was, I could spot it. It was definitely a reverse pivot. And I inadvertently said to him, I said, "If you don't mind me saying so, Roy, I spotted what you did there." And I was stood on the far side of the tent, and there's a very long tee on the left-hand side, and Alan Mitchell was on the right. And Roy walked up to Alan Mitchell and faced Alan Mitchell and said, "Alan, you go and tell Monty Milner that if I want a lesson in golf, I shall go to the pro." And Alan walked all slowly across the tee and told me word for word what I'd already heard already. And all I can say is that the rest of the round was played in complete and utter silence. And in the bar, when I opened to get my drink, and he just turned around and said, "Don't ever fucking do that again."
Language! Oh dear. Well, come on, Monty. I know you like reminiscing and living in the past. But why have you got a 2019 wall planner behind you?
Correct. It's covering up a crack in the wallpaper.
And there's nothing on it.
I want to know how you get the background. I've got Anthony coming around to get a proper background up here.
So, just towards the end, Cammie first. What does Northenden Club mean to you?
Well, I think I remembered when we won that the Rover foursomes at Northenden, and to make a speech, and I just said, I think it's great, and I just love Northenden. And 20, 30 years later, it's the same thing. I just love Northenden. I don't have to play golf. I like to go down and mix in the clubhouse. You can get a laugh. And to me, it's not all about playing golf, it's camaraderie. You know, there's some good guys, and it's not like the old day. You can mix with the younger guys as well. They might think, oh, here's this wee old fart coming, but we got on. I mean, age doesn't. I don't think about age. I still think I'm 31. I'm not. I'm 79. I'll be 79 this year. But I just think that you know, and that's what I enjoy down there. You can mix with anyone. And I mean, I was away for 11 years in London. What did I do when I came back? Joined Northenden. And I went on to be captain and president. So I love Northenden.
How about you, Monty? Same to you. What was Northenden mean to you?
He's a very successful journalist and has way with words, and I couldn't.
I was going to say, you won't be. As soon as you started talking, I thought, damn, I should have asked Monty first. And then finished.
He's taken the words out of my mouth. I couldn't put it more. Northern means an awful lot to me, and you know, when you have your downs, it's great to go down there and have a good laugh. I think the nicest thing that's happened to Cammie and I, or the greatest thing that shows a camaraderie, was in your Ryder Cup when you invited us down there, although we were getting a bit too old to play 36 holes in one day, and it was just wonderful to be honorary captains of each side and to drive everybody off. But the friendship and the love and it's just love we feel from the younger members mean an awful lot to us both. And I'm 80 this year. I don't feel like being 80. Cammie doesn't look like 79 either. And golf and Northenden is keeping us young and active. It's brilliant.
It's so true. You summed up, because you just think, just take that Richwood trip, for example. Because let's be honest, most of them are members of the Northern Golf Club anyway. That's a great idea. It's the age difference between oldest and youngest is over 50 years.
Good grief.
Isn't it? It's over 50 years. But you would never know.
No.
You would never know. Because no one looks at people like that. It's just a fellow mate, isn't it? And if you're not part of Northenden, you're very quickly welcomed to that fold, aren't you? So it's quite funny. There's someone like Mike O'Marney, Bessie Milstead, you know, they feel part of Northern Golf Club. So it's quite interesting that.
The crack that goes on in those 2 days should be recorded forever. Some of them are just priceless and funny. It's just hilarious.
Monty, what happens on tour stays on tour. You do realise that. Yeah, don't give away too many secrets.
I'm saying nothing.
Yeah.
I actually shared a room with Robin Wiltshire and never saw him.
Yeah, be careful about those stories, Monty.
Yeah.
And he still turned up the next day and won his match. That's up there, one of the greatest wins ever.
What's that?
Robin still won his match the next day. God knows how.
Oh, excuse me. I think my when Pierre Latois was 7-up against me.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Monty hasn't told you the story of Dennis Durnian. Now, Dennis Durnian had just 1983 in the Open. I can't tell. Yeah. Anyway, Dennis Durnian done very well in the Open.
It's part of his quiz again.
Yeah, but this won't go out, Monty, because of it. And about 2 weeks later, Monty and I are due to play the captain and the pro, and it was Dennis Durnian. 2 weeks after he finished in high places in the Open, I've got to be. And him and the captain are standing. It was Ray Somerville standing on the first tee, and Monty and I got onto the first tee, and I'm shaking, you know. And Dennis turns around and I said, Dennis, I just hope you're not nervous playing with Monty and me.
His very words were, just relax, Dennis, and enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Well, on that note, gents, I just want to say thank you for everything, both for this, but on a personal note, I know you both in particular have been a great part of my love affair with Northenden Golf Club, like a key part of Northenden Golf Club. I remember when Cammie was actually the first person I ever spoke to at Northenden Golf Club.
Did you understand what I said?
To be honest, I was a bit too nervous because I was there to meet, because I had no proposer, no seconder, and I just wanted to join a golf club. So I never played Northenden. I'd played Worthington before, and I might play somewhere else, but I decided to join Northenden. And it's funny, right at the beginning, we talked about interviews. My interview was totally different, and I probably shouldn't say this. So, because no one proposed me, I had to meet Jeff Morwood, because back then Jeff Morwood was the meet, the greet, the almost Mr. Integration, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So I arranged to meet Jeff, I don't know, say 2 p.m. on a midweek day. And at work, I was in jeans and t-shirt. So I remember driving to the car park, and in the car park, in my car, put on some slacks, a short sleeve shirt, and I wandered up the stairs up to the old clubhouse to see Jeff Morwood. Quite quickly, I realised that there was a lot of white people around, and I walked in, and everyone was looking at me. I didn't know nobody, and I just stood at the bar. And fortunately, Cammie could see us. Some random guy goes, "How can I help you?" You're right there, in a nice way, to be fair. I said, "Wait for Jeff," all this sort of stuff. He goes, "He's still on the fiddle. I think he's on the 16th hole, so you can wait here for an hour or so." I said, "No," so I actually waited in my car. And then I came back out of the car, met Jeff Morwood, and we sat by the window, the other side of the old captain's chair. So I had a chat, the usual stuff, nice chat, half an hour. And he goes, "Right, yeah." And I said, "Well, what's the next stage?" Because I'm an impatient type of person and I'm prolong anything. He goes, "Well, you need to have an interview." So, right, well, when's that? Anyway, he leans back, he sees Steve Wood in the corner. And Steve Wood and Jeff are both council members or committee members. He said, "We'll do it now." All right, so we literally had my interview in that seat, overlooking, I'll never forget the seat, overlooking the best hole in Cheshire. And I was thinking, we're not in Cheshire, but I didn't dare say anything. And it's funny, when Steve Wood came over, singing, he'd just got engaged to Ying. So, and of that Thai connection, they spent 20 minutes talking about Thailand, didn't ask me any questions. And that was it, and I was in. And then fast forward, and don't forget, my first year, I never played any comp, so only socialised with people outside the golf club. Then I brought PB into the club, and Gage brought PB into the club, and I had to attend his interview. And as a proposer, I got summoned first, proper style. You know, I had, who was the captain? Probably Joe O'Reilly, Steve would have been there, someone else. So go there. So Lex and I was proposing, and I said, "When did you join, Lex?" I said, "Last year." And they went to me, "So you would have been interviewed by the captain then, Dave Ashbrook." I didn't even know who Dave Ashbrook was. yeah, that's right, yeah, Dave, great guy, yeah, he interviewed me, it's so funny. But then for you guys, my first game, and since I've met all these other people, then hopefully I think I've completed the circle with me, introduced some guys to you, and obviously I had the honour of being your son's best man, Monty, so it is that, it's all intertwined, you know, and I think all golf courses going through a tough time, but I think the foundation basis of our club is a great setting. You with me? Fantastic. Good track there, good core, good track. So onwards and upwards. Yeah. Right, gents. Thank you very much again.
Okay,
stay well.
Can I ask a question, Lexi?
To who?
To Monty.
Of course you can.
Yeah. Where the fuck did you get these glasses?
I thought it looked wonderful in them. My lady likes me wearing them. All right.
He's all lonely, Cammie. You know, on the weekend. Gents, thank you very much again. A pleasure as always. Keep safe, keep well, and no doubt we'll be drinking and playing golf together soon.
Yeah, I'll tell you too. Keep doing this. Get some other guys, because it's a good idea.
I've got some people lined up. Well, gonna ask. So yes, all in hand. Any recommendations, let me know.
I think Dave Muirhead would love it.
He definitely would love it.
Yeah, so you don't get him on.
I do have a list of definitely nots, but I won't go down that route now.
Okay.
See you later, guys. Take care.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.